Sup, guys, we're here for the Council Network. Let's talk about Marvel's Luke Cage, Season 1, Episode 2, Code of the Streets. Luke is pulled deeper into the fight of his neighborhood when, a favor to an old friend, he tries to help a kid who's in trouble with Cottonmouth. And holy crap. The opener of the episode is pretty much part of the end of the episode, but you don't find out to the very end. That's the only thing I'm going to spoil for the moment before I say the following. If you have yet to see the episode, go see it, because I don't want to hear you spoiled everything about the episode, because you're really missing out on one hell of an experience, because the first two episodes are so strong. As setting up the series, I was not expecting how well together it was put. Maybe it's because my standards were so low, I was like, oh, this is Luke Cage. I'm not super excited, but I want to see where it goes. But just the way that Misty puts everything together, that's the girl's name that Luke was having the Cosmos with. She's actually Misty Knight from the comics, where basically we can't fully say just yet that this happens, but in the comics she loses an arm, gets a replacement by Iron Man, and becomes Misty Knight, part of the Defenders. Which, I'm getting really, intrigued here, because I like when shows like this, and Jessica Jones, and of course Daredevil, get, that whole mention. Also, towards the end of the episode, we get a hint about, Daredevil, fuck this, I'm going back to Hell's Kitchen. So that, pretty much, it's safer in Hell's Kitchen. Yeah, because Daredevil's there right now. So that's a whole freaking thing. But I like that Misty Knight, the way that you get to see, her mind works, how it works, putting all the pieces together about the crime, and just play it out as if she was there. I love that. Unfortunately, during this episode, there is a huge character death. I know we're only 2 episodes in, and the only characters that you should really be familiar with at this point is Luke Cage, but Pops is such an important character because the history that he brings into the Pop shop, the history he brings to Luke Cage from Luke Cage's past, alluding to it, is very important in my eyes, and the death of Pops in Luke Cage's arms is a moment that will sit with me for a while, to say the least. So, I'm not going to get to that point, but obviously, Cottonmouth comes in there and gets a shave. He's like, yeah, there's nothing like a shave. Oh, how'd you get your hands cut up? Oh, I try to shave myself. That's bullshit, because he beat up one of the kids. That Pop, basically, you get to understand his backstory, and his backstory is he was a thug. How do you get the name Pop? Luke asks him, and he goes, well, it's the 1, 2, 3, and then on the 3 you hear Pop. So that's why they call me Pop. And then he was with Cottonmouth, and I forgot who else, Alfredo, and they used to run the streets together, kind of thing, back in the day. Also, I don't know if Shades knows that Luke Cage, because it was alluded to. We haven't gotten the full context of that yet, but it was alluded to that Shades knows who Luke Cage is. They were in prison together, so I don't know if he recognizes Luke Cage. I mean, Luke Cage is kind of the guy that you would recognize, to be fair, There's not too many guys like him. And when Luke Cage snaps the broom, I think that's some kind of PTSD like we saw with Jessica Jones in her miniseries. I think we're starting to see that here, where he's flashbacking to it. But Cottonmouth, man, what a sick son of a bitch. And he gets fleshed out in this episode just a little bit. But I like that Misty Knight was on the court playing b-ball, and she's looking for this kid. And then you see the MK, which stands for Misty Knight. So her name alludes all the way back, to when she was a kid. And I like that they put that history there. I like that they build that momentum there for the future. Hey, I didn't just pull my name out of my ass. I played b-ball, after school, all that and whatnot. Go from there and just become Misty Knight. I like the way that works. I like how they connect the pieces. But I'm telling you, Shades, man, he's doing something. He's working for someone. I'm telling you, I'm hoping, because maybe it's because of Daredevil Season 2, I'm hoping that they connect Kingpin into this series some way. Kingpin's got his hands in everything. Every little thing that he can have it in. But that conversation piece between Luke and, Pop sets a tone, of course, that sets him up. You owe me a favor, because you hit up, you hit up my girl, and then basically I haven't seen her since she was 5 and whatnot. And since then, she comes back with this runaway who's a fugitive, and then she dies, obviously, and all that to this point. I like all that that backstory, because that backstory is extremely important to set the tone for the rest of the episode. But that tension that Misty Knight had with Luke was pretty fucking hilarious, to say the least. When she's just sitting there going, trying to play it off like, oh, I don't know you, what's your name? And he's like, you mean like telling someone what their real name is? Not pretending who they really are? Not faking? Just to get everything. Now, it could be because she's a detective, she was undercover, she could have always just said that. And then the other detective, he's just a fucking dick. Like I said, I can't wait to see what happens to him. He's just one of those guys like, hey, you're not even going to show a guy a handshake? That's a problem. Luke got fired? No, he quit. Because guess what? Pops wanted to have a sit down with Cottonmouth. I got your boy that you're looking for, and it's got your $500,000. And I want to work things out. I don't want there being any problems. And of course, Cottonmouth's like, well, fuck you, Luke, because Pops is a grown-ass man. He can come to me and do it himself, but he doesn't want to fucking do it himself, so you're fired. And Luke responds with, no, I already quit when I walked in. I like that. That's, things like that, it makes it feel more real, like if this was actually happening. I like just the feeling of it. But of course, things can't stay nice, and one of the head upper guys for Cottonmouth goes and shoots up Pop's, barbershop, which is freaking insane because I was not expecting Pop to go so quickly, and I'm like, oh crap. So Luke covers the kid who's in the chair and just saves his life because, Luke is bulletproof. But at the same time, Cottonmouth's guys don't know that, so he fakes being dead. But I think they were so concerned about getting out of there, they didn't realize it. Like, hey, why isn't this guy bleeding out like Pops is? Pops is gushing. But just the look on Pop's face when he was going, it was like, holy shit. And they slow it down, and the bullets are flying everywhere. And that moment where Luke is just holding him like, please, God, no. And the message for Luke from Pop is you gotta keep moving forward. You can't stand still. And that is a very important life lesson where you can't just, you gotta get used to change. You gotta accept it. It's gonna happen. And you gotta be okay with it. And that's pretty much what he was alluding to in his death, trying to tell him. But Misty Knight still doesn't understand that Luke Cage is bulletproof. Like, okay, here's my one problem with this entire episode. You don't understand he's bulletproof. You're saying, oh, didn't you get hit? Like, if you protected the kid? He's got holes in his shirt. And I'll tell you the exact time frame when this happened. And I'll explain why I'm going to let it go. But 46 minutes, 33 seconds, you pause it, you can see that Luke's got bullet holes in his shirt. As a good detective, you would be wondering, how did he, have bullet holes or rips in his shirt? And you've been with the guy, you know he wears a clean tee and whatnot. I just don't get it. It just felt out of place. Maybe if he wasn't sitting that way in her angle, but as a detective, you're supposed to pick up little things. Maybe I watch too much Law & Order SVU, or just Law & Order in general, but you get what I mean here. It just really felt out of place, and it felt weak from that stance. It didn't feel completely realistic. I was pulled out of the moment, like, how do you not get that? Why don't you ask him, hey, how'd you get the holes? Something to allude to it, but I digress. It's a minor thing that could have just been overlooked, for the moment. And I guess there could have been some other way. I don't know. I'm trying to piece it together where it doesn't sound like I'm just being mad about something that I shouldn't be that mad about. But finally, the final thing to talk about in this episode, of course, is when Cottonmouth finds out the last 10 minutes that his guy killed Pop. And him and Pop have history, and that's not good. And the look on Cottonmouth's face, and he goes, my name's not Cottonmouth, and he's like freaking out and whatnot. And he asks him, okay, he just said to him, okay, well, I'll just send Pop money, restitution money, anonymously, and he'll be able to rebuild. He's not going to like it, but guess what? Tough shit. You're going to have to deal with it. And then when he finds out that his guy killed Pop, he throws him off the damn roof. And when he throws him off the damn roof, I'm like, what? And he's telling the other guy, who basically said, hey, this is where the kid is, and he's sitting there slinging drugs and whatnot. You don't even go and look, see if he's slinging. So basically, Pop gets shot for no reason. Cottonmouth is pissed because they have history and throws him off the roof, and he's like, "You're done. You're done. You want the money? You go downstairs to the garbage and go get it," pretty much. And again, we get the scene where Misty Knight is trying to figure out, well, if Luke protected the kid, how the hell was it that, he didn't get shot? And I'm just sitting there going, he's got bullet holes in his shirt. How are you a detective if you don't get that? It pulls me out of the episode. It's a very, very minor thing in the context of the entire episode, but still, it pulls me away. And then we get that final scene where, he's got the bullet to him, the gun to him. Luke has got the gun to his head, and he's just like, you know what, you want to pull the trigger, here, I'll do it for you. Pop, bounces off, and you get to see that whole thing again. But 2 episodes down, holy crap, this series has me gripped. It's making me want to just sit here and marathon everything, but responsibly I can't. And obviously, the next couple of days I'll be posting out the episode reviews as always. So if this is the first time that you're seeing this and you want to know more, I'm going to try to have a playlist ready for it, but because Comic-Con New York is happening in just under a few days, I may not be able to have that playlist ready till after all the Luke Cage episodes are done. But guess what? You can go back and check them because they'll be in recent uploads, because this is only the 2nd episode. So if you're brand new and you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more. And I'll see you on the next video as always. Till then, peace.